What's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day, and I'm bringing you back a familiar friend. This is my SE6. Now, this is the very first knife review I ever did was on this knife right here. And since then, I have used the snot out of this knife. And one thing I noticed is that this was my first knife review where I really wasn't sure where I was going with knife reviews, and I look at it now and I think it was boring as hell. So what I want to do is I want to bring you this knife a little more properly. We're going to start with the molded sheath, which doesn't come with all this crap on it. Obviously, I put that on there. I actually stole this off a custom sheath I got for, I want to say it was either the Ontario 7 or the Becker. No, I think it was the Ontario 7. I bought a custom sheath that came with this, but I used this more, so I swapped it out, and so now I have a place for my ferrule rod, right? And a nice place for my compass, and that's a whole lot of yardage in line. So let's get rid of that. Now, we're talking about this 11 3/4, 6.5 inch blade, 5 3/4 cutting edge, linen micarta, 1095 high carbon, Esee freaking awesomeness. As you see, I've used this a lot, and the coating is still on the blade. It's a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. Now, also using this, I found the linen micarta to be fairly slippery when I first got it. That was only in the cold weather. Now that I'm in the heat and things have changed and sweat happens and this and that, this is very, very comfortable now. Testing it in the winter, you know, and I always do my test barehanded because you don't know a knife if you're wearing gloves. This in the winter was not the same as it is in the heat, you know what I mean? Still, it's got those gorgeous red scales. The fit and finish on this is absolutely freaking beautiful. You've got the hammer end with the big lanyard hole. The shape of this is so well. Now, I had a problem also when I first tested this with, I thought the spine was kind of squared out, and again, it was in the cold, so everything was, you know, pretty dense and it was slippery. So I think that's what made it feel that way. Once I started grasping this knife outside of the cold, I found out that it's actually a lot more comfortable than I thought. And maybe it's because I've been holding it a lot more and using it a lot more. I have no idea. What I do know is that I loved it then, I love it now, but even now more than before, which is kind of crazy. This thing is just fucking phenomenal. Still to this day, I haven't had any loosening of the scales. Those little hex screws stayed in really nice. You can see some of the dirt marks on there from actual usage, but the coating is still there. You can see where I've gone through things, but the things haven't gone through my steel. This edge is still brand spanking new, and it's used spanking new. That makes sense to me. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. And look at this. Look at this. It is still sharp enough to take hair. Ooh, I'm about to take skin off. This is going so deep. Look at that. Look at how smooth that is. Still taking hair off the arm without me touching up the edge. This is, I've used this for about a month and a half, almost 2 months now of, you know, constant usage. You can see the only part of the coating that's off is where I use it to strike a ferrule rod. That's it. That's it. And just so you know, yes, it does strike spark, obviously. Sorry about that weird ending. Had the mailman come up and drop off another knife. We'll talk about that another day. Right now, we're working on something much better than what I just received, and this is the SE6. So we are obviously going to slice a bottle. So let's slice a freaking bottle. All right. I'm not going to chase it 30 feet. That thing went in half and it went flying, and it cut through so cleanly that there's barely any water on the blade. Whoa, Esee freaking 6. Let's go play with it. Okay, once upon a time, I wanted to find out if this thing can chop. Let me remind you. This thing doesn't just chop, it chops great. I mean, great. This is effortless. I'm giving it the okay grip way at the back. Why? Because I trust this knife enough to where it's not going to go anywhere. And I mean, just a couple little shots, you can see the hole it's causing. Now, when you do this and you're testing your blade, what you want to make sure is that there's no folds, deviations, delam, anything like that on this edge. And this edge is immaculate. I mean, I could bang this thing against anything I want. I mean, literally, I can just slam this against Luigi from Super Mario Brothers, because we all know nobody really likes Luigi. And I don't have to worry about damaging this blade. It is freaking awesome. Let's do a little prying with it since we have it here. Man. Oh, Jesus. Well, so much for prying. I went in too hard. If you can see that, that's me going through the wood here. Let's see the tip here. All right, let's see. Oh no, how could we? Nothing, it's perfect. It's an SE6, guys. I don't know what you were expecting. Did you really think I was going to damage the tip doing that? Let's hit it in the old stump here. Let's stop. All right, so here we are. We didn't go that far. Right to the old stump. And what I like to do is I like to do gravity drops, because the gravity drop is going to tell you how the balance of the blade is, and it's going to let you know if these scales plan on loosening, because when you drop it then throw it down, all that vibration would loosen the scales if they weren't done right. And this knife was done right. Like always, I pry it out when I have a nice thick tip, and this has a nice thick tip. Oh, let's see here. That's all day right there. I mean, all day. So, let's see. Oh, God, the bite, the bite, the bite. All right, let's see here. Oh, gosh, that gets in there nice and deep. Gets in there nice and deep. We all like that. All right, so, I mean, this is having no problem. This flat grind is so perfect that there's nothing to slow the blade down from cruising right through whatever I put it into. Let's see. That's just beautiful. Let's take this guy, and using the choil and the jimping, two things I freaking love, and we are going to shave this down. Now, I made mention about the choil on the last visit I had with this blade, and obviously winter doesn't change that. The choil for me, because I have giant hands, is still slightly on the small side, to where if I put my finger in here, you see how here's the little blade edge. I do touch it, but not enough to where it's gonna cut my finger or anything like that. It's right at the edge, which means if you don't have 9 1/4 inch hands, you're not gonna have that problem at all. So don't let that be a deterrent. All right, let's see. I mean, just beautiful. Just beautiful. Guys, we could do this part all day, but I just knocked some off. That would suck and it would be boring. Knowing that it can do it is really all you need to know. So let's see if we can't get this down a little bit. And I say if we can't, of course we can. It's a freaking Esee. Wow. I mean, this will turn a blunt object into a sharp object in no time at all. If you're digging a pit and you're setting a trap, you want to catch some animals coming through the campsite, boom, you need some food right there. There you go. Let's do a little notch. We have to set up a tent. We need to get a nice little tie down notch. That is effortless and fast. Now we need to cut myself with the sharp end that I just sharpened. Now we need to, you know, make a little construction. Maybe you want to build a Lincoln log type fire, or, you know, if you need to make notches so you can actually make structures for living, you know, like shelters. You want to be able to have those Lincoln log notches so you can fit each stick into itself and make it beautiful and perfect, and nothing is going to make it as beautiful and as perfect, as easy as the SE6. It's just fantastic. Let's see. Can you use it for skinning? Am I still in the frame? Oh my gosh, it's so butter smooth. Let's see. Now let's peel that away. Oh my goodness, it's so fine. I left all the green on there. That's like having an X-Acto knife right there. X-Acto, tomato. The thing is freaking phenomenal. Let's go do something else. All right, guys, so here's something I wanted to do. I wanted to show you vacuum cleaner hose. Let's see what we can do here. Bye, hose. All right, this is not just the SE6. This happens to be one of my all-time favorite knives ever made. I think it's probably one of the greatest knives on the planet. And it wouldn't be great if it wouldn't fly straight, so we're gonna make it fly. All right, we're gonna go 5 yards and give it a spin here. Well, no. That was easy. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Holy crap. So here we have it yet again, the Esee freaking 6. Normally when you're revisiting a blade, it's because you had a problem with it initially and you've corrected the problem and now you want to show that it's better with the problem corrected, or maybe, you know, you want to see if it's going to still perform as well as it did when you first got it, when it was brand new. There was no concerns with that. I revisited this one for 2 reasons. One, my first video I thought was kind of boring, and 2, it's, well, the Esee freaking 6, and if it were legal, I'd marry it. This knife is awesome. I told you before, and I'm going to tell you again, if you can get this knife, if you find it for sale, just go on eBay, pick it up for like $1.30. Get this knife, because there aren't many knives that can even compete with this thing. It is freaking awesome. It's, you know, the Randalls and Adventure Group guys, you know, the training and equipment. It's just freaking amazing. This knife is sharp, sturdy, strong, well built, sexy, comfortable, useful. It's every single thing you want a knife to be. This is that knife. And even, I have to say, with that sheath the way it is, it's a comfortable wear. It sits up nice and high, so you can actually carry this on regular day outings. You don't need it just for camping or hiking. It doesn't come with one of those useless drop leg holsters that are only good for one time in life, and that's when you're out in the woods. This thing is a job site knife. It's a, you know, walk through the neighborhood knife. It's anything you want to do with it. It's not just the greatest camping knife, but it's also a great personal protection knife. There's just nothing bad I can really say about this. It's as awesome as it is awesome looking, and just the nameplate alone should tell you what it's worth. This is the SE6. I'm Donnie B all day, and until next knife.